Fam, we're back. Episode 10 of the After 90 Minutes podcast. You got your host here, Graham Fisher, current owner of a soccer academy here in Calgary, One Up Soccer, ex-pro, with my guy, Teo Reyes, the Colombian guy. What's going on, my man?
Big podcast today. Big guys here.
We got the Adekugbes. Welcome, you guys. Elijah Adekugbe and Sam Adekugbe. What you guys saying?
Chilling, how you doing, bro. Happy to be here,
We've been trying to get you guys on. Busy guys, huh?
But this is a nice time.
You know how it goes.
How's things?
Things are good, man. Things are good. Just back in Calgary for some time with the family, some vacation, you know. So it's nice to see you again, my guy.
Yeah, you too, man. It's been a minute. When I see you last?
I don't know. Probably like a year and a half. But I've known you since I was like 12.
Yeah.
It's like over 10 years now.
Crazy.
You know?
And you guys have had like a quiet year, huh? Nothing's been going on. Yo, we're going to dive into it. Let me introduce these guys. So we have Elijah Adekugbe, the younger bro.
Yeah.
Current player at York United.
Yes, sir.
Current rapper.
Yes, sir.
Cavalry product.
Yes, sir.
How's things with you, man?
Good, bro.
Yeah?
They've been good, you know what I mean? It's my first transfer in football, so moved to York this year. It's been a new experience and like new challenges, but I'm happy for it, you know what I mean?
Nice. That's calm. And we got Sam Adekugbe, on loan at Galatasaray in Turkey in the Superliga. 41 caps with Canada.
It's getting up there.
Honestly, I just hopped on Google. Is that accurate?
Huh?
41?
Yeah.
And obviously this past year was at the World Cup in Qatar.
It was
Crazy,
dope, man. It was dope.
Yeah?
It was dope, yeah.
Tell us about that, man. We got to start with that one, no?
Facts.
I was proud, honestly, bro. Sorry, before you start, I was mad proud to see you there because I know, I know you guys, both of you, you've had ups and downs. I know Lige was there in the crowd with all the sisters. It's unreal to see your guys' fam. Like my fam is mad close, but to see the volume of your guys' fam, bro, I see everywhere. I see,
We're crazy,
I see
bro.
Big Sis at Cactus. I'm like, oh, you guys are everywhere. I see your mom doing this, your dad,
Especially in Calgary.
Yo, it's crazy. So, bro, honestly, man, like really, really proud of you. Proud of both of you. But yeah, just tell us about the World Cup, man.
Man, I don't even know where to start. It was just like, I couldn't even explain it. It's just such an unbelievable experience, you know. Like, people had questions about having the World Cup in Qatar, you know, about human rights issues and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was a big thing going into the World Cup. But honestly, when I got there, I was just so surprised with everything because everything was so smooth. You know, the country did really well. Of course, they have so much money in those, you know, those Arab nations. So they spend a lot of money with the stadiums and the hotels and things like that. But from the atmosphere to the stadiums to the training facilities, everything was just like
Top notch,
special.
huh?
And like, I just remember like just, you know, the first game against Belgium, and we walked out to the stadium, we walked onto the pitch, and I was just so surprised by how many Canadian fans were there. Because, you know, Canadian fans, we don't travel, but we don't travel in big crowds, you know. But I guess when it's things like the World Cup or, you know, just big things that are happening, then they come out. But it was just like, it was unbelievable, and I just seen like De Bruyne walk onto the pitch, and I was like, rah, like that.
Like who? That's crazy.
I seen De Bruyne, then I saw Hazard, and I was just like, rah, that's crazy, you know. And then, of course, you're just like, you go back into your ritual before the game, you focus, and then I don't know, but just when kickoff came, it was just, you know, like another football match, you know. That's one of the things people always say. It's like, you don't get attracted to the atmosphere, to the people you're playing against. You just kind of remind yourself it's just another game against 11 players. And obviously we didn't win a game, but, you know, I think we showed ourselves, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that the craziest game definitely was the Morocco game because they had to.
They needed a point or 3 points or something.
Yeah,
right?
something like that. But you know, Moroccans it's a big Arab culture.
Yeah.
So obviously we're in an Arab nation. So it reminded me so much of Turkey because it was just like 50,000 people just like whistling, and like it was
tough to play, huh?
It's tough to play. It's aggressive, and it's, you know, it's hostile, and it was also difficult for us because we couldn't obviously go through to the next round, so we kind of had nothing to play for, but we still wanted to show ourselves. And obviously it didn't go well in the end, but in terms of the experience and all that, it was just like, it was crazy.
Are you taking that goal? I'm taking it. 100%. Like it went down as an own goal.
Yeah, it went down as an own goal.
I thought you imprinted that game so well. You put your foot on it, and I thought you had a really good performance that game. Like I watched you mad close. I even remember watching you. I was with a friend of mine in Van. I think I think you got me tickets to the Canada game, bro. Like, like I'm always really, really impressed with your performances. I think you're one of the most underrated footballers, I must say.
I appreciate it.
But I don't know. Anyways, if it was me, I'm taking that goal.
Bro, one thing on that goal,
I did. I tried at least.
Yo,
So yo, give me that.
Yeah. Because it was like a whip. It was a strike. Run me through that.
It was a cross shot.
It was a strike.
Yeah, because like like what's his name? Hakimi.
Yeah.
I just tried to get around him and it went through his legs, and then I just seen I think it was Kyle running into the box.
Yo, this guy, I just make Hakimi. Not that big a deal.
Yeah. He goes, what's his name? Hakimi?
Like, what was it? Hakimi? Or De Bruyne? Who was that guy? Lies, you were gonna jump in on that?
Yeah, no. The one thing about the goal, because again, it was a moment for the whole fam. But like for me, the biggest and the craziest thing about it was like in the stadium when the moment happened, we all got to see, like 50,000 people got to see Adekugbe goal there. So like I feel like that moment, like it just can't go away. So to me, own goal, no goal, whatever, it's his, ours, everyone that was like a part of the journey, and we got to see that moment of just like his name on the world stage, and I put it on my story. I remember Instagram, everybody like, yo, fam, and I'm just like, it's not even me, and I feel like it's me.
Yo, where's Elijah's story up, bro? This guy,
bro, crazy.
Yeah. So it went down originally your goal in the stadium, and then
it went down as my goal, and I think after the referees cleared up and they said own goal, but I mean it is what it is. It's just nice to be around that piece of history with Canada, scoring their first goal or second goal, whatever the case is, and I mean like I'm not really disappointed because I still got to play and I still got to be in the World Cup, and that's something like I'll cherish forever. Not just because of the World Cup, but because my family was there, So that was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. Tell us about like a little bit off the pitch of the World Cup, like days off. Like give us some behind the scenes.
Man, like I thought it was gonna be really strict because there was so much security and we had security on all like every hotel floor. We had to show our passes to get into like just the meal room, But like we were still able to live our life. Like I went out to dinner with my family, with my girlfriend. Like I was like going to the mall, walking around, so we could still feel like we are like normal. We weren't kept into our hotel rooms. We weren't like locked up. So we were still able to live our life. I remember going to eat with like my girlfriend, like one of my teammates, his girlfriend, my sisters, his family, friends, and you can still just like enjoy life while playing in like the biggest tournament,
Yeah, and it was a wild one to be at because it was such a small, like it was in Doha or like a surrounding area. So usually like World Cup in like the States, for example, it's like you can have a game in Cali and a game in New York at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was probably such a good World Cup to start at because it was some fans went to every single game because it was like just 2 hours travel. I get that right? Like
not
close.
Even I think maybe like 45 minutes just because of traffic.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, driving to our hotel, you can see all the stadiums. I think like the final stadium, I forget what it is. It's like 88,000. It was like a 15-minute drive. Like the city's big but small at the same time, if that makes sense, because they did so much work to build the stadiums and stuff. But they're like, the country's still growing in that aspect, It's not a massive population, So I think the influx of all the tourists and the teams coming in really like grew the country.
And how was that? Because I know there was a lot of skepticism like leading up to it in terms of obviously their cultures and their traditions. Did you feel like it was a little bit more lenient than you thought it would be? Did you notice it? Or
I was surprised because like people talking about there's going to be alcohol bans, women can't be, just certain things around their culture. But I swear, like there's one thing I always say: if you're going to someone else's house or someone else's country, you have to respect their culture, And I think they did a good job emphasizing that. We're not asking you to change your life; just respect our culture.
Yeah.
Of course, there's some things you question or people have difference of opinions, but at the end of the day, I think they did a good job in welcoming the world to their country, And like I was very comfortable. Of course, I was a player, but my family had no stress. It's like everything was quite easy.
And Lige, you saw it sort of like from a different lens, huh? With obviously being at every game. You went to some other games too, I saw. No, so how was it from you? Stay out of trouble or what?
Yeah, of course. Honestly, it's the same. You said
outside.
Yeah, it's outside.
I mean, again, like the coolest thing though was that like, so the players were there and then like all the families came and it was a big group of the families. And for the families, it was a celebration because we all get to see our people perform at the highest level. So, of course, we relaxed a little bit more there. We went out, things like that. I think the only craziest thing about it was that, like, we went out one night and no local women were allowed in the club. So I think that's just the cultural thing that they have there. So, like, when you go in and it's like, you see, like, I don't really know what a Qatari woman looks like, for example, makes sense. But no, it was still a vibe. Like, I got to see the games. I got to watch Neymar live. Like, bro. To me, it was just about the experience because I got to enjoy it from a different point of view. I got to be happy to see my bro doing his thing. and I just got to see like a World Cup. Like these are still dreams that like we've all had as kids, and atmosphere is nuts. Like watching Serbian fans, oh my God. I watched Serbia, Brazil. Serbia, wow.
Oh, wow.
That passion is crazy. And then the second one was Morocco. Like I was even telling Sam, like, I don't know how you heard, because outside, the whistles, I've actually never experienced an atmosphere like that. So like my respect for Moroccans, I just went through the roof after that. But from a different point of view, yeah, the World Cup was still a vibe.
So we had the World Cup, but something that we're really excited to speak to you guys about was qualifying. It was rowdy. We went, so Martino and all of our coaches, we went to Edmonton on like a work trip to watch the Mexico game.
It's a good one.
That was a good one. Again, I thought you had a really good performance, but run us through qualifying, because it kind of went from a fan's point of view, it was like, let's qualify for 26. Like had some pieces coming together. And then all of a sudden, after a couple games of qualifying, it looked like we were going to do some damage. And then obviously the turning point for me was when we beat the States. And who scored in that game? The big man.
I don't know.
Oh, no.
Do you know?
No idea. I can't even.
You don't remember?
Didn't watch that game.
No, but obviously,
No.
obviously, Sam, with that performance, that goal, was that sort of when you guys started to believe, or did you guys always believe that you were going to qualify? Walk us through the qualifying.
I think, like, I'll take it back. So when John first came into the program, we were in his first camp was in Spain, and he had like a 30, 40 minute like presentation. And he said, like, we're going to qualify for the 2022 World Cup. And I remember, like, he recorded the actual meeting, and he recorded from the back, and I was sitting, so my head was in the camera. And when he said that, I just kind of like looked up, and I looked to the guy next to me. I said, yo, what's this guy talking about? Because, the program hasn't done nothing for quite some time, Yeah. And then, like, but then I started to, a lot of players started coming through, Jonathan David, Alfonso was bursting on. We had Liam Miller. We had many players, doing their thing. Tajon's coming into the scene. And I think, like, the turning point, I would say, was probably the Edmonton games, because we didn't really start well. I mean, our first game was against, I think it was Honduras, and we drew that game.
I think, yeah.
And then we played the U.S. in Nashville, and then we drew that game. Actually, I'll say the Panama game in Toronto was the actual turning point, because that was our first 3 points. And it was like, that's when the stadium I've never seen like BMO Field like that. It was like chaos, And I think after we won that game, we started growing in confidence, because technically we were undefeated after the first 3 games. And it's not easy to play against the U.S. in America, because it's always like 50, 60,000 fans. And maybe
they have such a good record.
Yeah, exactly. And they have a strong team, and they scored the first goal, and we're thinking we didn't win against Honduras. They scored the first goal. It's starting to get into like squeaky bum time, like Alex says, and you're starting to think But when we came through that game and then we won against Panama, that's when it like really flipped. And then when we headed into Edmonton, we knew we could beat Costa Rica, and we knew like those teams, they can't come play -20.
Nah, man.
They're
we
not.
were cold. Lukey was there too. All my boys, like, we were freezing,
Yo, we were freezing.
Were
you there?
We
We're actually Canadians.
Yo, I was at the Mexico and the Costa Rica game.
Yeah, it was cold, man. I mean, I remember we wore like, these like, I think like the surgery gloves, like the latex gloves. We wore them underneath our actual like black gloves, because they say like your hands are sweating, so it keeps your hands from not going numb. But I remember coming out for the warm up, and I was like, I don't know about this one.
It was weird, because we almost wanted it to be as cold as possible, just to give you, like, us the biggest advantage, but at the same time, like, playing in it, mate, like.
Yeah, and then my guy jumped in the snow.
You went viral for that, no?
Yeah,
man. I didn't even know it was on camera, because the guys were celebrating like around the corner, and I was coming from like down the pitch, and I was just looking around. I'm like, yo, there's 60,000 people here. All my people are in town, because I'm from Calgary. It's a 3-hour drive, like. Like life is good, it was a second goal, like, so I was like, yo, we're about to win this game, and like I just seen the snowbank, and I just like, yo,
sent it.
Yeah, you sent full send.
Literally, I was just like, it was just emotion, because like that's why we play football, and just being in that atmosphere and feeling that energy on the pitch is just like, you have to let it out somehow. You know?
Yeah. I want to stay on I want to go back to the goal against the States, because the ball went up. Nice touch, and then you like almost had to touch and beat the guy on your second touch, and you had 30, 40 yards just sort of by yourself. Walk us through that goal.
Honestly, I just because it was windy and the ball was just like flying in the air, so I just tried to get it on the bounce. And by the time I took the first touch, the second guy was right there. So I just tried to poke it by him.
Yeah.
And then I realized that he was a center back. So I realized I was through. And I think I took like 2 more touches. And then the guy was getting close to me. And I was tired because it was at the end of the game.
That's why you hit the 3-pointer, huh?
Dead, yeah. I was like, yo, let me just finish the action. If it goes for like a corner, it is what it is. And then like, I just like shot the ball. And I just like, I didn't even like see, not that I didn't see the ball going. I just heard the fans go crazy. Because it was like when I hit the shot, I just heard the stadium go quiet. And then like half a second later, it just went like crazy. And I remember like speaking with my brother the night before the game because we always just like chop it up on the phone. And I was like, yo, if I score tomorrow, I'm going to hit this meditation.
Okay, so yo,
that's the craziest part. Yeah, like, yo, this is a moment. That's a moment.
Because you've been like, on like your socials, you always hit with, like that's your go-to emoji, you know?
Yeah,
when I saw it, I was like...
It was crazy because like I was talking to him before games,
we have to take this
and
one
I
back.
was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do this because I meditate and I'm a big fan of just like good energy and things like that. And then so when I scored, I remember what I said to him on the phone. I just ran to the corner and I just like hit the post and I closed my eyes.
Yeah, so you didn't copy Holland?
Huh?
You didn't copy Holland?
Yeah, I mean, no comment.
That was crazy because like you were so clear on goal that you hit it for like 10 seconds before anyone like came to you.
Yeah.
And I remember on that day because I was hyped. I think we were watching that game. We were training. We were indoors, and like all the players, all of our one-up ballers were coming in buzzing, and they're like, "Yo, Sam from Calgary." I was, "Oh, that's my boy. That's my boy." So I think I sent you. All the players hit that one.
That was tough.
I think you even shared that. So yeah, respect for that.
That was dope.
So funny story. So we went. So all the one-up coaches, a couple of my boys, we went to watch the Canada-Mexico game, right? So whatever, we were chilling, having a couple of drinks there, and then we went out after. Right, we went to it was like a Tuesday night, right? So we touched this like Latino bar. There's like a couple booths, whatever. So we're in there with the boys, celebrating the win, celebrating our summer season, and then all of a sudden there was one section like blocked off, and all of a sudden I see like Tejan, Alfonso, all the boys. I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, yo, where's Sam? Yo, where's Sam? Because if Sam's here, I'm in there. And then I didn't see you.
I wasn't
right?
there.
You were recovering. Okay.
Yeah.
And then whatever. So they're beside us and obviously celebrating the game, celebrating the win. And all of a sudden, because there's all these Latino music and like Martino's from Argentina. Tony was there. Sure. I think was Tony there. Like half of my coaches are Latino. So like Osuna's on, Bad Bunnies, we're singing, right? All of a sudden. Oh yeah, and it was Movember, so Martino had a mustache.
Like a dirty one too, Martino.
It was a bad one.
That mustache was.
It was bad, right? But hey, for a good cause. Anyways, more servers would come up to us. Hey, sorry about the loss, this and that. They thought we were Team Mexico, bro. Yeah, I swear.
You should have ran with that.
So we're like, yeah, we did. We're like, it's all good. Like, we're going to still try to qualify this and that. Yeah. And like, so the next day we were like all over their socials. Yeah? Even more than your boys. There was like a couple of stories. Like I don't know if they're trying to be low key, but like we just blew up on their stories like Team Mexico. It was so funny. That's class. Yeah, it was jokes. Yeah. So.
I can't believe they thought you were Mexican with your Spanish, bro.
Teo, mi español es perfecto. No?
I'm just joking.
Whose Spanish is better? Whose is better? Yours or his?
Mine, bro. Any day of the week.
Any day of the week.
Run that.
Let me hear something.
Give me a sentence. Give me a sentence in English.
Say, yo, what's up?
Make something complicated.
Yeah.
Say, yo, what's up? My name's Mateo, and I'm happy to be here.
Or give them a shout out. Give them a shout out.
Okay, estamos aquí con los Adekugbe hermanos. Mira sus sociales en Instagram, YouTube. No sé si tienen YouTube, no sé. Pero TikTok, todo eso.
Gracias. That's jokes.
That's tough.
So we got Teo on the pod, yeah? So Teo is a keeper. He plays for Southwest United. Where you guys had...
I had one season.
A season,
yeah.
Sam?
Ops.
Did you just say ops?
Low-key still ops.
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 Sure, buddy.
Foothills boys. And Teo, obviously Teo, I've been kind of saying like we got to get Sam and Elijah on. Even before like we had any guests, we just were thinking about it. Obviously Teo was super excited to have you guys on. He has a couple questions for you guys. I think something we've been speaking about lots is injuries, no?
Yeah. So I've got one for you. Late October, I had this injury with my ankle, sprained my ankle. I was out for 3-4 weeks, going to the physio constantly, and then he gave me the green light to go play in a tourney in Edmonton. So I played, and my mom, I don't know how, she became an expert at taping my ankle. Shout out, Mom.
Shout out, Mom. Huh?
Shout out, Mom.
And yeah, and so I played that tournament, getting back on my feet, right? Then I have a minor setback, and it's like I GK training, have a shot, save it, just goes wicked again. And so I'm like, I'm getting really worried at this point, like, is it going to be the same? Will I be able to play? Will it be 100%? And it was just overcoming that injury was kind of hard mentally for me, so I just want to ask you how you overcome your injuries.
Man, that's a great question. Everything you said about the injuries, I relate to it all, bro. Because I tore both my Achilles, tore my hamstrings, done it all, and I think adding up all the time I've been out, it's probably like 3-4 years. Oof, I put it into perspective.
It's
like
crazy,
that's
man.
mad.
That is
but,
mad.
I think the first thing is you need like an outlet outside, because as a footballer, you get all your joy, your passion, and like your feeling from the game, right? And all of a sudden it's taken away from you. And for mine, like the first time I did it was 20 or 21. I tore my Achilles. And growing up, I'm just like a football guy. Like, don't warm up, just go straight on the pitch, start playing, like it's just natural for me. And I remember the first time I tore my Achilles, I'd never had a serious injury, so I didn't really know what it felt like. And it just popped. And I remember thinking, or telling everybody, it's cool, bro, I'll be back in 2 weeks. Like, I'm not an injury guy. I go to the surgeon, and she told me 10 to 12 months. And I remember that first time, like, you have no idea. I'm not even a pro at the time. I'm in university, so I still have aspirations of going pro. And she told me that, like, there's a chance that you could never play again. And, wow, that's crazy. But now when I think about it, it's just, you just have to, like, keep your focus on whatever the mission or the vision that you have for yourself is. You have to keep that central, because in any journey, no matter what you do, there's going to be high moments, there's going to be low moments. And I think after you go through the first one, like, so I did the first one, and I had another injuries and other injuries afterwards. They keep coming back. So I think having an outlet for me, music really helped, because now I could still, our whole family was passionate about that.
Elijah.
Yeah, Elijah. But I could channel it into that and still get some sort of feeling. And like, because I really have a passion and love for that, it almost gave me similar sensations. And I didn't feel like, because I'm the kind of guy that feels like he needs to make progress all the time. So I was able to make progress in that while recovering. And then you come back and the same sort of thing. Will I be the same? Will I not? And honestly, you can never answer those questions. Who knows? Every day we're different. We're new people. So it's just one of those. I think in a long career, you're 12 now. If you play till 40, you're going to have 10 more injuries. You're going to have times where you're not playing. You have to have like that inner sound.
Just not the table.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? You just have that inner sense of confidence in like all the work that you've done, and just keep trusting like the main plan, keep working, and have that outlet. So you're not going crazy because you can't play and you're just watching, you know what I mean? But shout out to you, man, for coming back from that. It's not easy. It's difficult. But yeah, that's how I channeled it anyway.
Bro, just one thing. It's like when you're younger, it's very difficult to deal with an injury because you're young, and it's like football is your passion, and even my first years in Vancouver, I wasn't playing so much because I had 3-4 big injuries. Like you, I did my ankle ligaments, I did both knees, and I was a young player just breaking through into the first team, and I also had that frustration, like, oh, can I continue? I can't continue like this. I'm only 19 years old, I'm going to play 15 more years, and when am I going to get over this hump, And I think my first injury, I really struggled with it, like my parents were, I was grumpy, I wasn't smiling, because I just want to play football. That's all you want to do. And I think the biggest thing, like you obviously said, is to have a second thing on the side that makes you not so focused about it. Because when you're so focused on it, you don't sleep, you're nervous, and it drains your energy, and you're not happy, and it actually takes you longer to get back because you're just thinking, oh, the days are so long, oh, I can't play for 1 more week, 2 more, you know what I mean? It just drags on. And if there's one thing I could say, it's just to take the injury and just break it down into small pieces. Just go week by week. Maybe the first week you just, okay, I just got to focus on icing and doing the basic exercises. And, when you build little steps, it feels a lot faster because you're looking at, you know, you're elevating in each week by week, and then by the time you look, you're already back fit. But when you're just looking at the end of it, it feels so far away. It feels like, it's so long, I can't do this, it's gonna take forever. But when you break it from time by time, week by week, days by days, or just little hurdles to get over, you know, if it's to get the swelling down, that's the first hurdle. If it's to start focusing on the rehab, you know, the exercises, that's the next hurdle. And then when you break it like that, by the time you look back, you're already back playing again, you know. But when you look at the end, right in the beginning, it feels so far away.
That's respect. And back to your injury, Lige, because I remember, and something I have to say for you is that like this guy Lige, like I've never seen anyone so motivated with bad news. And that's respect. Like it's easy, and we've spoken about a lot on this pod. Like it's easy to be motivated when things are going good. But I remember the first one when you did it. I think it was like right after PDL, right?
Yeah, I'll never forget.
When we played together for that season, and then you were young. But when you did it the second time, even that one hit me. I'm like, because I know that was your second one.
I remember the second one.
The second, go.
When you were in the facility, you know?
Yeah, I called you.
What do you call it? The American Performance.
Yeah, the American Performance.
And I remember he called me, and I was in Fort Lauderdale with the national team. We just played a game, and I was driving to the airport because my flight got canceled. And I remember he called me. I just started crying because I was like, "Damn, that's like the first one okay. The second one, it's like, damn." And I got really emotional because he's
man.
My brother is my biggest support, and I'm always like, you know, I want him to have his best life possible. And that's something I will never forget because I was like, but thank God he's back playing again. He's doing this thing.
Yeah. That's respect.
We move, facts.
But it hit me hard too. And the second one, was it like the first season of Cavs or the season before? Was it the first season? The one before.
The one after the bubble season, the PDL.
Okay.
When COVID happened. So as soon as we got out of the bubble, like I remember we had COVID, the season got delayed. We had the Island Games. And when we come back for the Island Games for the preseason, it was like 3 or 4 days into preseason. I was feeling good.
Yeah.
And then you just... with the Achilles, it's kind of weird because you just kind of take a step and it pops. So
yeah,
it comes out of nowhere. But I was doing the preseason 3 or 4 days in, and from the second one, I knew just because I had the first sensation, and yeah, that was when it happened.
And I think something I've learned with speaking with, obviously we have you two, we've had Chituru on, Will Laturi, Arabim, like all the boys,
all the men,
Laturi, right? Something that like even me, it's cool to see is that it's. To get at the level that you guys are at, it's just dealing with the bad times. Mm-hmm. And that was something that I'll never forget. Like, Lige, when you did it the second time, we were in touch more. Yeah. And you were like, okay, like, no, I got to just focus on my recovery. I'm recovering 2 hours, 3 hours a day, my music. Yeah. And you're like, I'm getting back. I'm going to be better than I was. And that was cool to see. And even for myself, like we spoke about on the podcast, I won't run through the story again. When I broke my ankle snowmobiling with this idiot and the boys, I wasn't a pro football at the time, don't get me wrong, but it was like my second year into owning a soccer academy as a coach. Yeah. But I remember like I did it. I had a couple of days to think about it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to turn this into a positive. Mm-hmm. And that was almost one of the best things that happened to my business because it was difficult for me to transition out just having the players having me as a coach. Mm-hmm. They had Martino, they had Tony as well. But once we did that, they were leading their own sessions, and we grew from 3 coaches to 12 within like a couple of years. And it was kind of a good excuse for me to kind of take a step back. Mm-hmm. And I think like with yours, Lige, it's so easy to just be like, sod it, like kind of take a step back and like let it demotivate you. But to see it motivate you that much was respect.
On that when you said about like how it ended up being a blessing, I think in hindsight, because in the moment they always suck, but when you look back, like from the first injury, it helped me become more professional, more serious. I'd never been injured, so you have to like take your body seriously. And now learning, like being in football for a long time, to play a long career, you have to be able to manage your body, right? That's your tool. And then even from the second one, like I'd always had the music passion, but again, in hindsight, like it gave me that opportunity to really like express that talent and like like have that. So looking back again, though in the moments you feel it, like when you look back and you keep your health or your head, you look back and realize it's a blessing in disguise if you make the most of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tell us about this music thing, though. Switching gears, man. Martino, make sure we plug this guy's Spotify, Apple Music, Elijah. Tell us about that. Like, obviously, you guys have always been the very like musical fam. I've seen Sam on the piano singing. You guys like Like for me, when my fam links, like yeah, we'll eat and whatever. This guy, like you guys are just singing and like everyone. So like tell us about like how that started and where it is now.
Well, for me, it's a case of going way back. So when we grew up, like our parents put us in something musical and a sport. So I did drums and footy. Sam did keys and footy. My sisters, we were in the church, right, the choir, so they all helped out in that. And as a case for me at first, I actually only did the drums for like 6 months and quit. They said like the time and the rhythm just wasn't there, and like the footy was a bigger passion at the time. But with music on the low, I've always loved it. With rap, lyrics, things like that, those have always meant something to me. And like it's just been a part of my life. So I remember the first, like in grade 6, we had a science project. And in the science project, it was the best thing. Like I like when you have freedom to like choose what you do. But it was about like rocket ships, and I remember I said I'm gonna make a song for it. So at home, so I get my 3 sisters. I swear to God, I thought I was Simon Cowell. I'm 13. I had my 3 sisters doing auditions because you know the song "Does Your Chain Fly High?" Or
yeah.
So that was my inspiration. I was like, yo, I'm gonna remix this, make it a proper one. So I had my sisters audition. They all auditioned, and then we ended up making a track. So I guess looking back, that was the first time. But off the top of my head, it was about a rocket ship, right? I was like, does your shuttle fly high? Does it fly up in the sky? Does it fly out of space? Can it stay up in that place? Could you live in it for a while? Make it look like you got style. Does your shuttle fly? And that was grade 6 or 7.
You got like C-?
Nah, bro, that's an A. Full creativity mark. So that's where it really started. And then for me, where it really grew is when I went to university, and I had a teammate, Caleb Scott. He took a digital recording class, and like he had a project, or they all knew I could kind of rap because in the change room, I'm playing the locker rooms. I know the lyrics to most songs.
Yeah, you're on the
like,
aux.
Yeah, just those kind of vibes. So he had a song, or he had a project he had to make a beat for and a song for his class. And he got me to do the rap and the whole. So I got to be in the studio. I'm like 18, 19, first year of school. Proper studio experience, and like with everybody that's like, nobody's a pro. So we're all kind of learning this on the go, and I'm just getting to see everything from the ground up. And there was this one girl, Lexi. She's super talented. Now she like helps make like beats for like Russ and stuff, and a lot of artists. She's fully in there.
Crazy.
But like we ended up making a couple songs together. She's a super talented vocalist, and she even gave me the passion and the dream then, because she's like, wow, like you're good at this. But again, I'm still chasing the aspiration of going pro first. It was early days. So that's where it all started. Like the steps were there. And then as soon as I get injured, in my head, I already kind of wanted to make songs. I was already
like it was in the back of your head.
Like, because as you get older and you get more established with your career, you're playing longer. It's like you realize the extra time you have, you want to put to use for something. And I'm a builder, so I wanted to use it long term. So then I ended up just writing a rap. And one of the first ones I did, remember Christmas before? When you played the keys and then I did the freestyle. So we had one of those at Christmas. My family just.
I remember that. Yo, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, on the keys. I actually remember that.
So we had one, and like they didn't really know that I was writing this, but like Sam played the keys, and I just went up there and did like the song that I was working on, and they all like gave a good reaction. And my family's like the toughest audience because they're all music heads. So, you know what I mean? Like they all know it. So we had that, and there was a good reaction. And from there, it was just full send. And my sister Ruthie, shout out to her, amazing vocalist, brought her over. We would just like, I would write the songs, she would help me because she's really good at melodies, things like that. And it was just a passion we had. She was over all the time. And for me, once the bug started, I couldn't stop. So I just, boom, songs. Then I shot these videos. I used to love the colors videos with the background. So I really like things that are simple, clean, and just like really aesthetically
like every
pleasing.
drop, you had like a different kind of color theme.
So I had like a color theme for each, and it kind of matched the theme of the song. So I started there. And now it's been a year and a half. I've released like 13 or 15, 16 songs. And it's something that now is a big passion of mine. So I have a full studio in my apartment. And now it's something that I want to do long term, hopefully make that a business source or whatever, because it's a passion of mine. But I'm somebody that wants to be involved in the whole part. So now I'm producing beats, recording, writing, mixing, mastering, all that. So the cool thing for me is just one of those things, just to see where we take it. Who knows, like in the music things, it's still early days. And right now while I'm playing, it has to take a back seat. Yeah. Especially now that I'm not injured anymore, like the footy has to come first. Yeah. But when the time comes for it to be what it is, we'll see where we get to take it.
But we spoke about that with a lot of players that are doing it right now in Europe. It's like you only play footy for a certain amount of time, right? So it's nice to have sort of that, something to look forward to after.
Yeah, and it's something that like I'm still making songs all the time, working on things, and like stuff's coming probably in the off season, things like that. But yeah, it's something that like every day I go to training, come home, have a studio there. And it's cool. Like even in York right now, it's calm. I've made a couple of songs with my teammates. Like got them on tracks.
They featured.
Like,
Nashi?
Nah, not Nashi. Yeah. But like I remember like even a funny one though in that. So like when I got
Nash.
injured, because I knew I was making music and stuff, and I didn't want people to think that like that had meant I was lost my focus from football. So what I did was I made like a song for my team to show them like, yo, this is just my passion. I can channel it whichever way, and I want to show you guys my support, like how I can, because I can't play. So the song called Dream Team, and I remember I just I thought of everything and the quality that every player has, made a lyric for them, and just like made a track. And the coolest thing for me was I remember I pull up to training, I'm injured, still in a boot, and I'm like, yo guys, like just pull up, like I just want to show you something. I made something, and I know off the top of my head, like it's gonna like they're gonna think it's like going into. I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna think it's cheesy or whatever, like team song. They're never good. They're just never good. But my inspiration was, you remember, you can find me in the club.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the Flames one. Yeah.
So I was thinking,
how old is that?
Yeah,
204, bro.
Yeah.
And that was like, I remember still like that was heat. So I just wanted that energy. So I made a song called Dream Team. Shout out to all the team and just our aspirations that we're here. So people could see that it's just a passion I have, but it doesn't take away from what I do. And then it was cool. They loved it, like, because everybody had the lyric. The best one from it was like when Vic, he scored his first goal. And Vic's my boy forever. But like, we always chop it up in different things. And I remember back then the woe was heavy, right? So I have a lyric for Vic where I'm like, what did I say? It get techie like Seymour, get techie like Vic. Next time we score, man's throw up and whoa, right? I don't remember the full bar, but the coolest thing that happened, the dopest thing, so he scores his first professional
I remember
goal.
that.
I'm injured watching at home. He runs straight to the camera, throws it up. Whoa. Hey. Next day on a story 2 hours later with the lyrics in the back, and I'm like, that's what it's for. Job done. Like, the boys loved it. It gave them like power to like do what they need to do. Good energy. And that was a moment, you know?
Yeah. Dale, tell Elijah, give us a bar.
Yo, yo, Sam, me, you and Graham have to think of a word, and he has to like spit a bar or something.
You got that? I'm not against it.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta.
You go.
I don't know. We have to brainstorm a word. What word do we pick?
We'll give it to you.
One word each, or?
Yeah, one word
Yo,
each.
you guys just don't think I'm Harry Mack, huh? But we'll go for it still.
Let Sam start. He's a guest. He guessed.
Soccer.
Yo, you didn't even,
no,
bro. Yo, no diversity, bro.
Yeah.
Come on,
Something
man.
different? Okay. All right. Diamonds.
Diamond.
Am I giving one now or like?
No. Then he spits a bar with like the word diamonds.
Okay, I get you.
And then it's Graham's turn. My turn.
All right. Diamonds on my ear, shining and they glistening. Spitting all these bars, talking while I'm listening. Everything's cool. I never been the victim. Everything I got, top condition. Yes, I'm really nice. Confidence is levels. I've been at the top, trying to stack a bezel, trying to get 50 on my wrist like a level, trying to stack up to different on my So,
Okay. Yo, where are the effects, Marty? Fire in the booth.
Yo, just so you guys know, I did not write none of that, by the way. They actually put me on the
crazy.
spot. That's mental.
All right. Rock.
Every day I'm grinding, the hustle non-stop. I got a lot of strength. I think I'm the Rock. Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, hold it. Yo, by the way, cut that part out. Yo, cut that part.
All right, ready?
Okay, let me just do it written. I don't want to do too much. Let me just do it written, bro. Let me just do it written. Okay. I also have this one right. Young homie still spitting all that real ish, fresh fade, clean clothes. Yeah, you know I'm killing it. Look so good that I might steal your ting. Call yourself a prince. What's a prince to the king? Don't step, fam, because you know you dancing with the best. You want war? I put a bullet through your bulletproof vest. Yeah, something like
Elijah. Hey.
Something like.
Yo, but make sure we're gonna put your Marty. Please put everything below for Elijah.
calm.
Spotify,
Appreciate that, bro.
Apple Music.
Yeah, appreciate that.
We predict good things.
And they really put me on the spot there. That's mad. It's calm.
Hey, it was
still got
Teo.
one.
Yeah, we did
Yo,
it,
it was
we did it.
Teo. I didn't.
No pressure, huh?
Yo, yeah.
God.
Yo, Teo asked you.
Teo, I
Calm
like
like
you for
that. Calm
Yeah,
like
calm.
that.
So what's if you had to say like you said in a perfect world you retire from football, what's the goal with music to kind of finish this topic off?
Honestly, for me, just to take the music as far as I can take it, reach as many people. I would love to like, when I walk past people and I see them with their AirPods in, I would just hope that like, if they were listening to my song, it put a smile on their face and they just felt good. You know what I mean? So my thing is, how many people can I reach with the music? And I would just love to work with different artists and just be involved in the process. Because even when I worked with my sister, it's so dope, like, to work with like singers, other artists, even work with my teammates. So for me, it's just to see like how much good music I can make, how many people I can reach, and like to me, there's no limit to that.
That's sick.
I know you're in the music industry and stuff like that. So
It's gonna be a cheeky question. I can already tell.
I don't know if you like old rap or stuff like that, but do you like Pac or Biggie?
Okay, big thing on this. I'm saying Pac to the grave. So one thing about me and my brother on these, like, I feel like we have like these symbols in our life that mean something to a lot. So for Sam was the meditation thing. If you go through, I remember these, like his Instagram before the goal, look like his last 10 posts, they all ended with this, right? And my thing was the rose, because again, through the highs and the lows, Tupac was one of my favorite artists growing up. And he has a poem called The Rose The Rose That Grew from the Concrete. And for me, like, I really related to that because it was just like, as a rose, you're supposed to go through flower and soil, not through the concrete. It's not like the conditions to grow, but the rose that can grow from the conditions that weren't made for it to grow still grew. And I really just related to that because it's like, no matter what happens, your family didn't come from much, you had injuries, you weren't supposed to be here, you weren't supposed to do anything, you're the rose that keeps growing. So to me, it's just a lifestyle thing that like, and that came from Pac. And I love Biggie, but Pac is like, because he's real, his lyrics are authentic. Like, yeah, rappers make songs about whatever, but at his core, he's true and he's inspiring the next generation of leaders and like artists and people like that. So for me, it's Pac, like, guaranteed.
Dang, bro. He gave us a whole story. I said Biggie or Pac, and he gave us like.
Because that question's a philosophical. In the music community, that's a philosophical
One
question.
of the best answers you've ever got on the pod.
Bigger or Pac?
Bro, that's a philosophical.
Hey, this guy, one word answer, man. Holy.
Bro, man, you say Messi or Ronaldo, like, if you really deep it, it's just who you like. What
You said bigger or Pac, and then he went on that 5-minute speech. He's like,
What can I say,
bigger or Pac.
Yo, I'm an artist, bro. I guess where's this come? What can I say?
Sammy, something I wanted to speak to you about. So when Lige speaks about sort of like kind of going through a bad situation, we know that you had obviously a really unfortunate event happen to you in Turkey with a very, very severe earthquake. Are you comfortable like talking to us about that and kind of like making it through? Because I know like my condolences on your losses as well.
Appreciate that.
So if you wouldn't mind, like, sort of give us your perspective on that and how you kind of made it through.
Yeah, it was crazy. You know, we had a game on it was on a Sunday, and we had 2 days free already because we played 3 games in the week. So the guys already booked their trip to go to Istanbul for the weekend. You know, relax, get away from the city because we're living in a place that's quite old. You know, so we wanted to go. You know, just eat sushi, for example, and stuff like that. And then I just remember getting back to the locker room after the game, and our flights were canceled because there was a snowstorm in Istanbul. The airport was shut down. So I said, "Oh, we can all go back to my place." And, you know, Galatasaray is playing against Trabzonspor, a big game in Super League. You know, so we come back to my place because after games, no one can really sleep. You know, the adrenaline's still kicking in.
So the team,
so it was like 4 or 5 guys, like my closest friends. You know, so we're watching the game. We ordered pizza. We played a bit of poker, and they stayed till about 3:30 in the morning, and then when they left, I just started packing away the table because it's, you know, pizza boxes, some beers on the table, things like that. And then that was about 15, 20 minutes, you know, threw it all in the kitchen, cleaned up the place, and then I was still kind of awake, so I saw there was some MLS games on because of the time difference. So I just put it on, I lit a candle, just, you know, didn't want the pizza smell in the house, you know. And then I just remember like sitting down and like my hands, like the TV's on, MLS game is on, and I was like, my hands were like shaking. And I was like, yo, why are my hands shaking? I think am I having a panic attack or something? Like, I just couldn't understand it. And then it just started getting like more shakes, you know, like those amusement park rides when it starts subtle and it starts rocking more and more. So it was like this over a 5-minute period. So after the handshakes, I just start hearing the door rattle. And I was like, damn, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting robbed. You know, I just hear the door rattling. Maybe it's 3 or 4 guys outside. I said, oh, it is what it is, you know? And then I heard everything in the kitchen just fall down, all the plates, all the cups, and then the TV fell. And I was like, oh, damn, we're in an earthquake. And I wasn't really so, like, worried because I didn't think it was going to be as bad as what it was. You know, you never expect the worst with these kind of situations, you know? I mean, I've been in an earthquake before, but it's been really subtle, just 5 seconds. And then the candle fell off the table, and that's when I, like, just realized, well, like, the severity of it, because I have a carpet on the floor. I didn't want the house to catch on fire. And it like rolled under the couch. And so I was like moving back and forth because at this point now it was like very sharp movements, like the whole building or my house, sorry. So I was able to find the candle, and I just came out and I see everyone outside. The roads are all cracked, and, you know, the roof is like slid over. Like everyone is stressing. My friend, there's like 3 or 4 guys who live in like the complex where the houses are. So one guy sprints to my house, like, oh, what's going on? Just kind of like in shock, you know? And I was all right because it was crazy, but like, you know, I wasn't hurt or anything. So I was like, okay, I'm good. You know, like the house is messed up, but you know, where we were living was about 20-30 minutes from the main center. We're like just on the outside of the city. So for us, it was bad, but it wasn't like, you know, the worst case, you know. Obviously, everything in the house was just flipped over, but, you know, we were fine, you know. And I called Atiba Hutchinson because I was figuring, I thought this was throughout the whole of Turkey, you know. So I called him.
He was in Istanbul.
He's in Istanbul. Yeah. So I called him at like, I think now it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, Atiba, yo, did you feel that? And he's like in his bed. He's like, yo, what are you talking about? I said, earthquake. He's like, no, I didn't feel anything. I said, okay. And he's like, oh, you all right? I said, yeah, I'm good. Okay, I'll call you later. And then the cell towers went down, so the phone service went out. So I went back into my place with a flashlight. It's 2 levels like this, you know. I was like just looking around and see everything on the ground. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is crazy. But I was living alone, so I didn't have so much in the house. I had a living room. Yeah. You know, I had like a couple of empty bedrooms. I wasn't using them. So it was just really like the living room, my dog like play area, and my bedroom. So that was all obviously all over the place. And then like the cell service came back, and I called. We have like translators who are like the organizers of the team. He's like, So I called and I said, bro, are you okay? Like, how are you and your family? He's like, oh, he was bawling on the phone. He was living in like a 10-story apartment building. The whole thing just came down, but he was able to get out because he was on the 2nd floor, you know. And he has a daughter, 3 years old. His wife was pregnant, so he was like, and he just bought his place. And that was like it was the biggest thing for him and his family to buy his first, you know, when you're a family, you buy your first house. It's like, it's a big thing. And like, he was only been living in it for about 4 or 5 months. And the whole thing just came down. And he was just bawling on the phone. He said, okay, come to the training facility. Everyone's going to meet there. So I get in the car with some of the guys. I start driving to the facility. And then I started seeing just like the craziest things I could never imagine. Like, I come down, because we live in like a hillside. I come down the hill where the markets are. I start seeing like buildings on the ground, fires, just things you can't really explain, you know. It's like, it's easy to say, but to really like envision it is very difficult, you know. Just imagine a building just flat. I'm seeing like moms yelling, crying, fires, people just like in, not even crying, just like deep agony, you know, like people running around, yelling, looking for their loved ones, you know. And I'm driving through the city, and as I get closer and closer to the training ground, which is like right in the downtown of the city, it was just even worse. I'm on the highway. It's like a cracked open road. I can't go. I have to go back around and go on the opposite side of the road. It was just chaos. And when I got to the center, then it was just like, it was even more buildings, you know, just stacks of buildings just down. You know, I couldn't even drive. Normally it took me 20 minutes. It took me like 2 hours to get to the training ground, because it just, buildings are on the roads are broken, like everything is just chaos, you know. And I even remember just like a young lady and her parents just like, you know, like waving at me, just banging on the car. I say, hey, I don't speak Turkish. They were like, just help yelling. Us? Or? Yeah, just our family. I said, okay, get in the car, you know. And I didn't know I was driving them. They were just telling me here. And I took them to their house, and we were going up the hill, and it was just even more. And like my friend got out of the car and started throwing up because he was just so like panic attack. He was just so in shock, you know. And so boom, we did that. And I get to the training ground, and there's people there, and I started thinking, oh, okay, so where's this person, that person, you know? They said, oh, they're coming. They reached out, they're coming. I said, okay. So where's Atsu, or where's Lewis? Lewis coming. Where's Atsu? They say, oh, we didn't hear from him. And then they say to me, like, in the apartment building where he was living, there was about maybe 10, 11 staff, like players and staff in that building, and maybe 8 of them came, or 9 of them came. So it was Atsu and the sports director. Yeah. Oh, where are they? And you know, at this point, everyone is with their families, looking out for themselves. It's normal, you know. People have babies, 6 months, 8 months, you know. So everyone is just in like panic, you know. Mm-hmm. And I was with my friend. I said, bro, I have to go look for him, because he's like, who's looking for him? You know, people are, it's chaos, you know, no one knows where to turn. So I just remember like driving to like, trying to get to his apartment building with his friend. And then finally I get there, and I just saw like just the whole building down. And he was living in like a residence. So it's one big lower lobby with 3 towers, if that makes sense, you know? I just see all the towers flat, and people are just crying and yelling, and there's ambulance sirens, firefighter sirens, and so I just got out the car and I just went to the side of his building, and I'm just hearing like people yelling under the rubble, you know, and like I almost regret going there because that's what really like effed me up mentally. Just really like being on top of the rubble, like yelling for his name and realizing like just realizing that like these are big cement buildings. You feel so like powerless because you can't just pick up a cement roof, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're just hearing people yelling and crying, and just like it was tough, man. It was really tough. Like once I saw the place, I realized like, wow, there's nothing I can do. My family's calling me. My girl was worried, and I'm saying, oh, don't worry, I'm fine. I'll call you guys later when things settle down. And I just remember like just driving through the city, trying to like just help people, move around, give clothes, things like that. And I was thinking to myself, I was just like, this place is finished, like I don't, like, where do you even start? Because it was almost the entire city was collapsed, and what people don't realize, where I was living was like it was a poorer side of Turkey, it's not under civilized, but older buildings, older house. It's a very historic place, it's not so modernized with a 40 story apartments. It's very old, so it wasn't even stable to survive the earthquake, like for example, the same earthquake, God forbid, happens in Calgary or Vancouver or wherever, it would never have that same damaging effect because buildings here are modern. They're built to be able to withstand to a certain magnitude, but in an older city where the buildings are dating like 200, 300 years old, it's not, they don't have the science or the information to be able to do this, and so eventually like the team told us like, oh, come to the training ground, we'll all stay there. And like throughout the day, every hour, half an hour, there was aftershocks, and the training ground was fine because it was like it was quite a big building, so it was like stable. But I just remember every half an hour running in and out because like when you hear the shakes, you just panic, you run out, and that starts to, maybe you don't feel it then, but it weighs on you like psychologically. Like I didn't sleep for like 2 weeks, and then the coach told us, they'll say, okay, tomorrow we will drive to another city, it's about 3 hours away, called Adana, and the federation, the like Turkish Football Federation, the Canada Soccer, has arranged for a plane to take us to Istanbul. And I thought to myself, like, the season is finished. I'm never coming back here. Like, what can I do? I can't help. I'm not you know what I mean? I don't have any I can help with my hands, but I don't speak the language. All I can do is just give what I have. You know what I mean? And so I said to myself, wow, like, I waited like 5 o'clock in the morning. We were going to leave at like 8 in the morning. I stayed in my car. I slept in my car that night. I waited till like just before sunrise. And I drove to my my house, and it was still a little bit dark. So I just turned the car. I just turned on my lights and just faced it towards my building. And I was just running in and out, taking what I can. It was, and I'm lucky. Like people don't realize I'm very blessed because I was able to take maybe 70% of the things I had because I didn't have so much, and I was living alone.
And your dog was okay.
My dog was okay. My dog was in a dog hotel, so that was the first thing I called before I called Atiba.
Okay.
But he was even further away. It's like a bigger place where a lot of dogs are. So I knew they were fine. So I didn't have my dog until like the next morning, So that morning I packed up my things. I was running in and out because I didn't know what was going to happen. If it was going to be another aftershock because it was, constantly happening. And I just remember just running in, grabbing my shoes, throwing them in the car. Running in, grabbing like my family stuff, going in, just in and out, in and out. Then last, I finally grabbed my suitcases. On the street, I'm just throwing everything in, just throwing it all in, So I was able to take a lot of the things I had, and then I went to go pick my dog from the dog place, and luckily everything was fine over there. And I just drove to the city while the team took a bus. I left my car for just someone to use to help just get around because some people stayed because they're from Qatar, like one of the
some teammates, you mean, or like some staff?
No, like staff members. Like I have translators.
They're local.
The locals, because a lot of people coming into the city to work, but the local people, they can't leave. They have to stay. They have families. Like one of the translators lost like 8 of his family relatives. Like, and it's one thing to see people cry and just be upset, but it's another thing to see like just like devastation in their face, you know, like uncontrollable emotions. And I felt so like helpless. I was almost embarrassed to leave the city because I knew there was like no chance I was coming back, because what was I gonna, you know what I mean? All I could do was just help financially and give the things that I have. And I ended up getting on the plane, and I went to Atiba's house.
Yeah.
And his family welcomed me in. Like, that's why Atiba will always have a special place in my heart, because I've obviously known him since I was 19 with the national team, but he was always been my big older brother, so he's always been there for me, and his family took me in. But I didn't sleep for like 2-3 weeks. I was having like shakes. I couldn't, like, you know, I had to speak to a psychologist, and everything happened so fast because I ended up moving teams and things like that. But I think like for that rest of the season, like I didn't like mentally.
You weren't yourself.
Yeah, I didn't mentally recover. I went into like a big club, like started playing. You know what I mean? It was just like everything was just like too much.
Well, I think, Sam, like you say like it was so hard for you to give back and you were helpless, but you did help, you and Atiba, and that was like so great to see. So you guys put together sort of like a GoFundMe.
Yeah, exactly.
For Canadians to help the Turkish people, and massive respect. We spoke about like, you know, tough situations and trying to be the best person through it. And you guys raised how much?
I think it came out to like $18,000.
Like $18,000 for the families there. So that's respect. So it was great to see, obviously, you and Atiba's to use your reach to sort of give back. The last thing before we kind of move topics, if you don't mind me asking, when did you find out about the death of Atsu and your sporting director?
I think it was about like, we kept hearing things for like 3 days.
When you were back in Istanbul?
Yeah, back in Istanbul, they said they found him, they didn't find him. And at the same time, like, you know, there's no one has their phones or things like that, so information was very difficult to come by. And then his agent and his brother flew into Istanbul and drove, or whatever. They somehow ended up in Hatay, you know. So they were constantly there, like at the site, you know, with the diggers, you know, waiting to see what was gonna happen. And I think they have like some sort of like things that recognize heat to see if there's still warm bodies on the ground, signaling that they're still alive. And I think as the days go by, it was just getting less and less like likely that he was still alive. And then I think they confirmed it like 4 days later, and then like 4 or 5 days later, you know, they found the body. And that was like the toughest part, because like he was like, we were together like the night before in my home, like chopping it up, and he was like he just came in the winter transfer window, so we got close, you know, and we were always hanging out. So that was like really tough, because death is always tough, but especially when it's unexpected and it's just some crazy circumstances, it's even more difficult to deal with.
Well, I'm so sorry for your loss, man. I know that must have been like really tough to go through. But off the back of that, and I know I don't want to say it turned into a good situation, because like it's way bigger than footy. I think in those situations, everyone in the football community comes together, because football, a lot of times it feels like football is life, but it isn't. Yeah. But off the back of that, you got a loan move to one of the biggest clubs in the world, Galatasaray, beside Icardi, Juan. Like, obviously for me as a Chelsea boy, Juan Mata. Tell us sort of how that came about, and how it's been, how it was for the remainder of the season, because I know you guys went on some crazy winning streak. I've just seen pictures and videos of you guys celebrating the league. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the transition from obviously a massive devastation to you, because then I know obviously hit the spore. Yeah. Obviously was removed from the league. Yeah. And tell us about that and kind of getting that loan spell with Galatasaray. So
I was with Atiba, staying in his family, and then my girlfriend came like when we moved to the hotel, so about
Yeah.
a week later. And then things were starting to settle down. I mean, like the federation was coming out with a decision about what's going to happen with the remainder of the league and the players. And I think it was about maybe a week later, my agent also came and he said, "Oh, look, there's going to be some changes to the league, and there's going to be an opportunity for you to go on loan." Because I was thinking about going directly to Canada just to decompress.
You thought your season was done?
Yeah, I thought it was done, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going to happen. So he said, "Just wait." So I was with the team for a week. My girlfriend came, and then maybe 2 days later, I started getting like phone calls saying like, "Oh, this team's interested, that team's interested." And I remember like going to like another team called like Kasimpasa. It's also an Istanbul.
Yeah, it's in Istanbul.
Team. Yeah, it's an Istanbul team. I remember like I went there to go speak with the sporting director and the coach and go look around the training ground, and they said, "Look, like obviously we're very sorry with the situation, but there's an opportunity for you to continue playing." And I wanted to continue. I thought that would be the best way for me to, just kick on and keep going. And so I said, "Yeah, I'm interested. It's I can be in Istanbul. It's a bigger city. It's easier for me. Can continue playing." But they said, "Okay, just wait after the weekend because we know what's gonna come out, but we're just waiting for the official announcement with the ability for players to go on loan outside the transfer window." So that happened, and then I remember going to like a T-bus for lunch with my girlfriend and his family. And I remember on the way there, like getting a call from like Besiktas, saying from the sporting director saying, "Oh, we're interested,"
Wow.
So
That's where Atiba is.
Yeah, it was where Atiba is. So I remember speaking on the phone with the sports director, and same thing. He said, "Look, we want you as well." And I said, "Okay, I have to think about it. I've already kind of given my word to Kasim Pasa, so it has to be kind of like now." He said, "No, make no mistake. We want you. Just let us figure out the appropriate paperwork and et cetera, et cetera." I said, "Okay." So I remember going. So that afternoon, I was supposed to be going there for a medical to Kashimpasa.
Damn.
So it all just changed so fast. And I remember being in the hotel, and like I just remember like people kept like all the fans in the hotel kept asking, "Oh, where are you going? Come to Besiktas, come to Kashimpasa." And then on my way to the hotel, I get a text from my agent saying, "Oh, Galatasaray want you to come now." Because how it works in Turkey, it's like once your name gets to one of the big teams, and all the big teams, they always want to be the first to take the player that's available, for example. So I remember like as soon as I just left from a phone call with Besiktas, I got back to my hotel, and I was on a phone call with Galatasaray with the sports director. Same conversation, we want you. There's a place for you here. We want to support you. We want you in our team. So I remember just like sitting down. I think I was talking with my brother. I was talking with my girlfriend, with my agent, and said, "Wow, it's three good opportunities." I remember speaking with John Herman about it because I didn't know what to do. I wasn't worried about playing because that's just part and parcel. That you can't be guaranteed wherever you go. Things can happen. But I thought, why not go to the best team in the league? You know what I mean? It's like I think they were 6 points ahead at the time. They were on like a 15-game winning streak, and I felt I had an opportunity to play. So I just remember like that evening saying, "Okay." The agent that represents the Galatasaray Cup came to the hotel, and I remember just like they were in the lobby, my agent and him, just like negotiating, blah 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 blah, and I was just in the hotel room with my girlfriend. They'd call me and say, "Okay, come, this is the offer, blah blah blah." Continue negotiation. I went back to my room. This was like on and off, like every 2 hours for like 5-6 hours. Just me leaving, hearing what they're saying, leaving, coming back, hearing what they say. It's just negotiations. You know what I mean? Like. Done in person, and then eventually everything was done. I remember that evening gonna go do my medical. I went to the hospital, and I had to do like just the whole thing, the whole process. It's like an hour and a half of MRIs on your hips, your knees, just a full medical thing. And then the next day I signed the contract with the president, and then they wanted me to do a video for the announcement talking about like because Galatasaray did a really good job in supporting Hatay, where they had like donations and they were sending materials, clothing, equipment, and they wanted me to promote that, like just continue helping while during the unveiling, because normally unveilings they do a big thing, but in this moment it's not the right time.
Yeah,
everything is surrounded about everything is going on about what we
a lot of time to celebrate.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember like doing like my signing video, and they just wanted me to speak from the heart, and I was getting like emotional because like I haven't fully really processed the earthquake. Everything happens 10 days later. Things are still crazy where I was. So I remember just doing the medical, doing the contract signing, and then the next day I'm training, and the team really welcomed me in, and like I just remember like pulling up to the locker room, and I was just like, yo, that's Juan Mata. Crazy. So, yo, that's Dries Mertens. That's Icardi, and I was just like, I remember calling my brother. My brother was gassed. Because he's a big football fan.
Yeah.
He was obviously so happy for me, but like just for the opportunity. And I just remember the first training session. Like I had to, like the coach speak, welcome Sam to the team. Everyone was just, welcome. And I remember we doing the warm up, and I went to the first. After the warm up, we always do rondos for about 20, 30 minutes, and they. Rondos, everyone has their own groups, So, like, the Turkish players are over here. The Scandinavians and the rest of the world is here. Yeah. And all the South Americans are over here. And I was like, I'm going to that one. Because I just want to see, like, what's going on over there. I want to see the quality. And I remember just, like, I had to go in the middle because I was the youngest. I remember it was just like, boom, 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 20 passes. Like, damn, you guys stay in there. And that was like.
So who was in that one?
That was Lucas Torreira.
Yeah.
Juan Mata.
Yeah.
Sergio Oliveira. Dries Mertens. Icardi. I'm trying to think. A guy named Milot Rashica.
It's like anyone else.
This guy did a rondo with these guys. I'm like
Champions League winner, top scorer here.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I just remember, I didn't come out the circle because that's the quality that they have, and they take their. Normally, you keep the ball on the ground, but when the ball skips up in the air, as long as the ball doesn't touch the ground, they continue.
Yeah, it was the same thing in Germany. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
and then like
even if it's outside the square, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I remember like maybe 10, 12 passes, the ball gets placed up in the air. It's like 20 meters away. And I see him keeping the ball in the air.
In a rondo.
Heading the ball back and forth. You try to go and intercept it. Boom, up to the other side. Back into the rondo. Pop, 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 pop. And I was like, yeah, this is levels.
Wow. So it must have been like, honestly, such a sick experience signing with them. Yeah, but also like, let's not forget, like you went and played as a left back. Like you went and like, tell us about the debut, but then tell us about the season because you had a starting position. No, because when my guys were like all my guys that are doing stuff now, like I always keep tabs on you guys or whatever club you'll be, I'll follow you, and I see like Adekugbe in the starting lineup, Adekugbe, and like I'm like, not only is he signed at Galatasaray, which by the way, for those that don't know, the Turkish league, like I did a vacation in Turkey a couple of years ago in Istanbul. I tried to link with you, but I know you were in season. And it wasn't a business trip for me, but it's all good. Istanbul is like one of the craziest, coolest cities. It's like half of it's Asia and half of it's Europe, and the cultures, and it's like the river splits it. Is one of the nicest, craziest vacations I've ever been on. And they love their football, like the fans, and just how they celebrate footy. And if you play like for Besiktas or Galatasaray, you're like, you're something there. So obviously that was probably such a cool experience being in the capital. But there's one thing signing, we spoke about this with some of our guests, like there's one thing getting there, and there's one thing now you focus on the football and now you perform. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
Yeah, man. So when I got there, I was like, we had a training camp in Antalya actually, after 4 days of training in Istanbul. And then, so we were just training because the league was obviously on a pause because of the earthquake. So I just went there, training, just waiting. I wasn't expecting to play, Well, I was, but I was just like, I was going to be patient with myself. I was going to go there I'm playing or I'm leaving, Just be patient, right? So I remember we had like a 2-week training camp or a 10-day training camp in Antalya, and then we came back, had 2 days off, and we had the week leading up to the game. It's always the team always has about 4 or 5 sessions before the game, So I remember like they don't really show the team because it's a big squad of players, so everything in trainings is just about small-sided games, possession, crossing, and finishing. And then about 2 days before the game, they start like 11v11 about the tactics and things like that. And I remember like the 2 days before the game, I wasn't in the first 11. I was calm because I just came.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like we were just doing the game, and like the B team was like doing really well against the A team. But this is really common in football. 2 days before the game, the second team always does better.
Always.
Yeah, you know those ones.
They got something to prove, and they have no pressure.
Exactly, exactly. And then so that was that, and I was like, okay, it is what it is. I'm still happy to be here. And then, and obviously we do like maybe 8 minutes, and then the second half, it was like me, Juan Mata, a couple of players. We switched to go into the A team. It's the same thing. We just played, you know, just a normal game. And the training session was finished. And then the next day, the day before the game, I came back. And we would just do a warm-up, rondo, LMB11 with set pieces. And when the coach hands out the bibs, that's turning 11. And I remember just getting, like, the bib, you know, for the first 11. And I was just like, yeah?
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah. I just remember, like, that. So I get back to my hotel where I was living in at the time. I called Elijah, and like my family said, "Yeah, I'm playing." Elijah's like, "Yo,
I remember,
crazy.
bro. Still remember."
And then like the next day is always the day of the game. And what they do in Turkey is that we stay in our houses, like our family homes, and then we come in about lunchtime at the training ground. We have like an activation, so it's just like stretching, some just little movements, you know, like half a warm up, for example. And then we have like a lunch, a nap time, and then a pre-match meal. So obviously I just do my normal thing, sleeping in my nap, wake up for the pre-match. And then I remember getting like on the bus at the training ground, and they start playing music on the bus. And I think Galatasaray is one of the best like player experiences that you can ever have, because they have like a big JBL speaker on the bus. On the way to the game, it's like a 30-minute drive with the police escorts and stuff. And all the players are like banging the windows, like just getting excited for the game, like
life's good, top of the league.
Yeah, but like a competitive, like
Yeah.
banging, like we're going to go there and like, you know, like part of my French, like fuck shit up, you know what I mean? And I was like, I'm on the bus, I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Everyone is like, you know, banging the windows, and they have like a nice mixed playlist, because we got Spanish like Latin music, Turkish music, just hip hop, and then before every game, they start playing this Macklemore song. What's it called again? Here we go now.
Okay. Oh yeah. The top 40 jam.
Yeah, exactly. And then they do it by like when we're like 2 minutes away from the stadium, they play that song, and everyone starts like banging the bus, like the players. And on the way to the game, maybe 20 minutes out, there's traffic, because when Galatasaray is playing, the whole city is watching, you know. So I remember on the way to the game, I started getting closer towards the stadium. I'm seeing just fans, like everywhere, like
Deep.
Like I'm talking like we're driving next to cars, and people are on top of their cars with their scarves like this. You know what I mean? Like I felt like it was the World Cup again. You know, and this is just for a regular game against Kashimpaşa, the team that I was supposed to.
Sorry, coach.
Supposed to go to. So the closer we get to the game, it's just like it's packed to even get into the stadium. And I remember like just, you know, doing the normal locker room routine, going out for the warm up. We wore like this like a alternate kit, it's like an all black kit, like with all the jerseys going.
The little yellow orange,
exactly.
I saw that one. It was fresh.
Well, so those were like gonna get donated after, and like people like raise money for earthquake.
Okay.
So it was like a special.
Oh, so you meant an all black kit to like commemorate? Oh, as like okay, sorry, yes, got you. Okay, sorry,
kit, you know.
Okay, yes.
So I remember like just going out for the warm up, and I'm just like, you know, like even in big games like in the World Cup or qualifications, it's obviously like a lot of people, like 50, 60,000 people, but maybe it's like 10, 15,000 in the warm up, because people are coming into the stadium. I go out there, the place there's not a single seat open, and I was like, for the warm up, you know, because. I don't know. Like every time you play against Galatasaray, it's always 50,000. They always sell out the stadium. But singing in the warm up is like crazy, you know. And every player has to like go salute the fans. You have like it's like a tradition, you know what I mean? You just you walk up to the fans and you just like hype them up, and they go oh, and then you just go It's like chim bum bum, you know. I don't know what it means. It's just like a Galatasaray thing, you know. And they gave me a really good reception because it was my first game, you know, and. We ended up winning like I think it was 1-0. Was it 1-0 or 2-0? But I just remember walking out for the kickoff. You're in the tunnel for 5 minutes to do the whole presentation, and you walk out. And I just got like super emotional because I was just the kid, the earthquake, you know, change of teams. I was just like tearing up when I was walking out. And then then I realized I'm playing for Galatasaray. You know, this is different. Like,
Yeah.
I have to wake up. You know what I mean? And it was just cool seeing 50,000 like fans going crazy, and they whistle. When they whistle, it's deafening. Like we get earaches, you know. And even people like Dries Mertens, they say like Dries. I remember one game, it was like a VAR moment. The ref goes to watch the VAR, and the whole single starts whistling like loud. It's deafening, and then the longer it takes, the louder it gets. And Dries comes up to me in the middle of the game. He was like, "My friend, I played in AC Milan. I played in Chelsea. I played in Stamford Bridge. I played in Old Trafford. I played in Real Madrid. I've never seen nothing like this, you know, in terms of the energy and the sound of the stadium." And I said, "For you to say that, that's crazy." You know what I mean?
Bro.
Because he's been everywhere, and that only shows how crazy the stadium is. Like it's so difficult to play there.
Yeah.
It's so, people think that like Galatasaray, like, you know, the fans are more lenient and things like that. That's not the case. It's just that it's so difficult to play there because you're almost 11 players, 50,000 fans against 11 players on the other. It's impossible. So.
Yeah.
Especially with a team that's won 15 games in a row at that moment, and
They're feeling themselves.
Yeah,
the
it's
away
like, and they're
team.
flying and they're confident. It's amazing.
And then you secured like a starting position
Yeah.
from that game,
Yeah.
or were you in and out, or?
No, so what happened was the first game that I was available for, I went straight into the first 11, and that was like it was quite big because they were on a 15-game winning streak, and for a new player to come in and go direct into the first 11, it was obviously, it's for any team, it's like it's a big statement, you know, and it shows the coach's confidence in the player, and that gave me confidence as well because I knew it wasn't about, you know, oh, it's an earthquake, or you know, we wanted to play because, you know, coaches are under a lot of pressure when they're coaching Galatasaray. There's no time to waste. If you don't play 2 good games, you're out of the team because that pressure to win is always it's strong, you know. So I went into the first 11, and I was like playing, and it was like I remember talking to Light. I was loving life. You know?
Good for you, man.
It was good.
Wow, good for you. If someone would have told you that, like the night of the earthquake, you would never believe that. So obviously super sad about it, but like what a way to sort of kind of like shake that off. And then you won the league.
Yeah. Wow.
That one was crazy.
That's crazy. That won the league the second last game away. And even when we were playing against Ankara, with Ankara, which is the capital of Turkey. So I remember like getting on the plane, you know, just normal, flying into the city. And when we get off the plane, like even on the, what do you call it? You know that place between where you give your ticket in and the you go on that, what do you call it? Like
The tarmac?
not the tarmac, but it's like the little,
Like the tunnel.
Yeah, the tunnel. You know the tunnels at the airports. I remember going in there. There's like, you know, like the security and the people working. Like they're not even doing their job. They're trying to take selfies with all the players. It's like, yo,
that's great.
you're not even doing your job.
You're paid to do that.
Like you're like a police officer trying to get a selfie
Yeah.
with Icardi, and I'm like, yo, this is different, you know. And I remember like finally we get out to the exit of the airport, and I swear to God, I think I saw like 500 fans, and all I saw was like flares and smoke. We couldn't even get into the bus. It was like we have security that always come with us, and they're just pushing people out of the way trying to get the players onto the bus. And like I'm just not a young kid, I'm a small player for this team. And I remember like I had my AirPods in, so I wasn't seeing who was behind me. And then like I remember I just like turned around and I seen like it was Icardi walking behind me because we were at like the back of the plane. And the chaos that was like coming around me, like the fans, like police officers trying to take photos, like security are trying to like get all over him. And I was like, I remember one guy was like trying to like, you know, get past me. And I was like, yo, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But just all to get a picture with this guy. And I was like, you know, like people like Fonzie are big. Like obviously they have like their world renowned.
Yeah.
Everyone knows them. But Icardi, it was like a different
That's
it's a
crazy.
different level. Like the guy can't get from the plane to the bus.
I'm gonna guess you guys did a bit of celebrating.
Anyways, just a little bit.
No comment.
But the one thing I wanted to say was that when we came back into Istanbul after the game, they told us we have to go to the training ground. It was like 3 a.m. They said all the fans at the training ground. So I remember we were driving to the training ground. we're in like where we eat the lunches and stuff. It's kind of like this, you know, and there's a balcony that looks onto the pitch with a little like there's a little space where you can get out, you know. And I remember like the whole training pitch was covered with fans. Like I'll show you some photos after. It was covered with fans, flares everywhere. Like I showed Elijah. It was like you couldn't even see them at first because of all the flares and smoke all over the training ground. And once it obviously rises and clears out, you see that the whole pitch is just covered with fans at 3:45 in the morning, waiting for us since 12 o'clock. Because we were in Ankara, we flew into the city, late hours. They were just like,
just shows you the
just
support,
like the passion, like the passion is so different in all countries.
What I'll say with some countries that they do so well is that the clubs and the players treat their fans well back. And I always found that about Turkish when I watched Turkish football when I was there. It's like even when you said like when you're like it's a tradition to salute the fans. And I know like sometimes they win, like a player will be like on the mic, like they have such good interaction with the fans. So like it doesn't surprise me that the support is like so big back. That's what a story.
The relationship between the players of the club and the fans is like very special because there's been some big players that have like graced the pitches of Galatasaray. So like that passion is very deep. People like Drogba, Wesley Sneijder, the players that have played for the club.
That's what I think of Drogba when
exactly.
I think Galatasaray. Like,
after every game when we win, the fans always shout one player to go and do like another salute, and it's like the whole stadium is just like it's something different because the history there is so big and powerful, and it's like people don't realize the culture of football in Turkey because obviously not everyone is watching Super League, but like it's under like how big like Galatasaray is in terms of like their culture and their fans.
Wow. Man, after 90 minutes podcast, you're getting some crazy stuff. Yo, make sure you're following us on YouTube,
shout out these guys,
Spotify, Apple Podcast. Shout out Martino.
We're getting friends. Come on.
Yeah, we're getting some real stories, man. A couple more things I want to speak about. Sam, in that story, you just kept bringing up Elijah. Like I called Elijah this, I told Elijah that. We had Vic and Will on, and it was so sick to see like sort of how they are with each other. And I kind of learned from that. Like I don't think Vic or Will would be where they are without each other. And I'm just going to assume that's going to be the same with you guys. Like you guys, so similar in ages, 94 born.
No, 95, 96.
95, 96. So 1 year away from each other. Like Lige, tell me about like how Sam helps you with your football and how you've helped him and sort of that dynamic.
Well, I think for me, him being the older brother, he's always been the one to pave the way. So I think you remember we went to Whitecaps at 16. He got signed first. So it's almost like everything he's done, he's just kind of given me a pathway to like be myself and do the same things. And I think the biggest thing for me is just to have someone that you know is there for you regardless of the highs or the lows, like if you're winning or losing, and like through all the moments, that's the biggest thing. So I remember like when I've been injured, he turns into a physio for me. And in the moment, it's annoying as hell because he'd be like, yo, do this. He
tells you real.
Yeah. But how many people can you say in your life will like support you without you giving them anything? Yeah. So I think that for me has been invaluable. Even the same with my music, you would share it, do whatever. So like in those moments, just having someone in your corner that's there regardless and just being able to go through the same things. And again, he was older, so he did it all first and I could see it. And even things like the World Cup, like even if it wasn't me, he's got to live those dreams and have me be a part of that. And I get all those experiences as well. So it's a case of just like, I've always thought like his wins are my wins and my wins are his wins because we all come from the same family. And at the end of the day, our name is greater as a result. So it's just been a beautiful thing and hopefully more to come, you know?
And it's crazy with like how different of style of footballers you are. Yeah. Right. Obviously, like, you know, Lige, technician, like scientist on the pitch. Where Sam, like from what I've noticed, is obviously like a little bit more sort of looking forward, direct, obviously way different position, like playing in the holding midfield, playing left back is a different sport. How crazy has that been? Sort of like not competing against each other, but we speak about with brothers a lot, like in our academy, like using our siblings is using each other to sort of not compete, but to push each other.
I think I don't think we're that competitive with football with each other, actually.
We never have been.
No,
we're more competitive with like FIFA.
Other football.
Bro.
Eh?
Or like just like, you know, like just things like that. But I think with like football, we were like always like side by side. Like we would do extra training together. I remember like, for example, when we were both playing in Calgary at the time at photos, we'd go a little bit early and like if I was a winger at the time, he was a holding midfielder, he'd be like pinging balls out to me and I'd be crossing the ball. So we would always like use each other to help each other get better. We would go to like, even in like vacations or whatever we're doing, we'd go like to the facility and we'd just do like technique with each other.
Yeah.
Remember we used to be in the garage like doing like wall passes with each other and things like that. So we've never really been like competitive in that nature, but I think we've been each other's biggest supporter, you know. And I think after his first Achilles, we kind of grew closer, and we were always close. But I mean, we started having like, you know, relationship conversations, like really like personal things that you wouldn't really expect us to like really talk about. And I think now we're so close with each other that we can be like honest with each other without getting offended. Like my girlfriend's. He's like my girlfriend's like best friend. Like they talk sometimes more than I do, and like it just shows you that like relationship that we have with each other and that trust and connection. And I honestly think that like I wouldn't be where I was without him, because he's been my biggest support. And like when he says things like like you're living our dream with the, like going to the World Cup and things like that gets like really emotional for me, because I've seen him go through his Achilles and things like that, and I know like what he's saying is like really true, and I know he really means it. And I always tell him like my first tattoo is gonna be like a rose on my Achilles, or like just like my lower calf. Just like,
that's sick.
Just because of like just like how close we are, and sometimes I get like emotional about it, because when he tells me things like this, I never have time to like really deep what he's saying. You know what I mean? When like I remember like the first game like against Belgium, when I just came to him after, and I just seen like him smiling so big, like just like that, like pure emotion. It was like I will never forget it, because like I know that it's like pure, you know. And it's like I'm always like hard on myself with how I'm playing and things like that, and he's probably like my like chief analysis, you know.
The scientist, man.
The first guy
this guy knows his football.
Like, yo, like,
for
what
sure.
do you think? He watches my clips and he's like on my ass, like do this, do that, and it's like it's genuine, you know what I mean? And it's like if I can say something, it's like if anyone's like watching and they're grown up with brothers and they're playing, it's like your biggest supporter is your family, and you don't realize how much it means to you. Of course, I can say it now because I'm older and I'm knowing, but like when you're younger, it's like they say like two minds is better than one. So if you're together, it's like encourage each other, play with each other, because it's more hours you're adding. You know, people talk about this 10,000 hours rule, and when you have a person you're doing it side by side with, your motivation is greater, because it's harder to go to the gym by yourself. It's easier to go with your friend. Or your
one day you don't want to go, and Lige does, and vice versa the next day.
You know? So it's really
Lige, that's respect for you, because obviously the way you talk about like Sam's career, and don't get it twisted. Like I predict still really good things for you, Lige. Like I've shared the pitch with you, and obviously you've had your ups and downs, but I predict mad good things for you on the pitch and off the pitch with music. But to see your brother obviously go to the World Cup and play for Galatasaray and qualify for the World Cup, and with all that, like it seems like you don't have an ounce of like jealousy towards him, and you just want what's best for him. And I know it's probably like, you know, you guys, you're not competing against each other, but I would say like some families with like not as good as dynamic and not as close with you guys, they would have that. So to see you just big him up and be his biggest supporter is respect.
Like I said, families, like his wins are my wins are his. So we've been through it together, and just more of that, you know what I mean?
That's sick.
I think because man, this one is getting deep.
When Sam said that thing about the tattoo on, that'd be sick.
Yeah, you think you'd sue me? Find some room or what? I'll run a rose tattoo, bro.
Rose forever.
Yeah. You spoke about Sam paving the way, but someone that I want to speak about a bit is Alphonso Davies. Sam, like your best friend, your best mate, good friend of yours, who I think has also paved the way for all Canadians. How's it been sort of being, because obviously you guys played together at Whitecaps. How was it seeing sort of his rise through Whitecaps and then him to go on to do things like crazy things at Bayern and World 11 and all the things that he's done?
I'm just like, I'm more proud than anything, because I remember like his first game, we were playing like the Canadian Cup match in Ottawa, and he came on, I think it was like 14 at the time, and like I was just like, yo, who's this like little kid that's just like, who is this guy? You
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what I mean? I was shocked, but like you could just see his ability from then, and I was just like, wow, like even I couldn't have predicted what he's gone on to do. You know, I knew he was very good, but this is special. You know, this is like he's easily one of the best players in the world. It's like we've been on vacations together. It's like he can't go anywhere without getting like, you know, fans in his face, and just seeing that rise. And what I like the most is that he hasn't changed. He's still been that, like, even when he was like living in Burnaby in the academy, he was still a 16-year-old kid loving like TikTok and YouTube and
Yeah.
Snapchat.
Yeah.
But on the world stage, he's still that same kid, you know. He has his YouTube vlogs. He's still joking around. He's still being himself. He's doing his Twitch, his gaming, all these kind of things.
Yeah.
Seeing him not change, but seeing his like football elevate, it just like it makes me so proud, because you know that he like the world stage hasn't gotten to him, and
Which is
it's
crazy,
difficult,
man.
especially at a young age. And you know, people forget that when he first went to Bayern, he wasn't playing so much. I remember going to see him, like he was on the bench, he wasn't, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, within like the blink of an eye, he's Champions League winner, like I don't know, 4-time Bundesliga, whatever the case is, you know, like I don't know, I can't even tell you how many trophies.
Yeah, man.
Cabinet,
I think something for me, like I don't know the guy, but I speak about him a lot to players, because something that I think is one of the most difficult things in football and in life is like once you get somewhere, you have a goal, right? Like I always wanted to go and play in Europe. When I signed for my first club at Schalke, it was one thing to get there, and then it was another thing to not even just stay there, but like to go and do it there. And to see his, I think what I would, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I think his mindset is no matter where he shows up, he's like, I'm going to be the best player on this pitch. And he went from like, I remember doing combines like as a coach in Vancouver and speaking to some of the youth coaches there, like 15's there for 2 weeks. And then he goes to the under 17 Whitecaps there for 2 weeks. Under 19's Whitecaps 2 or 21s, whatever it was at the time, first team. And he was the best player in each. For you to like just pull up as a 15-year-old, even like under 19s, and not just let's try to fit in. Like the average mindset would be like, hey, how can I fit in and not train poorly? But for him to go and be like, hey, I'm going to go and be the best player here, the best player there. And then to Bayern, obviously comes through that. And then he just like the way he just has his chest out and I'm going to be the best player in every game is crazy. You see that from him, huh?
Yeah, most definitely. I think like his best characteristic in football is his competitiveness, but also his fearlessness. You know, I mean, I think we all remember the goal against Barcelona in the Champions League when he did the business against I forget what his name was. But like,
Tomato, that was it.
But that's something I've seen him do in like training sessions, you know, and to bring that into the world stage, I think it's a credit to him. Like he's very relentless in the way he plays. Like when you watch national team games, like he dribbles, he loses the ball, he dribbles again. He loses the ball, he dribbles again. He doesn't stop. He has that tenacity and that drive to just keep pushing, keep going. And then you see the fruits of the labor. You see the goals, you see the assists. And I think, of course, he has a natural ability that is world class. But I think the best part about it is that drive, because you can be a very good player and still make mistakes, and then maybe you duck yourself a little bit. You don't want to make that same mistake. But I think the best part about him, like I said, is that when he makes that mistake, he goes again. If he loses the ball, he goes again. And if you bring that fearlessness to like any stage in your career, if you're under 16, you're under 18, it manifests itself with goals, assists, you know, a newer level, because you're just being relentless with your performance. And with that ability, to the world stage, because everyone has nerves and everyone gets excited, or you know what I mean, everyone has down periods, but if you're just relentless with that mindset, it's like, you know, anything can happen.
I think it's being relentless, but also just like light. Like I just see him as like he's just light.
Yeah,
like,
because
he's just happy,
energy,
bro. The guy,
right? Yeah,
man,
you
like,
feel it.
He just loves to play football. Like it's just pure love for the game. You know, like it's when you have that love for something you do. It's not a job. It's like you're enjoying it. You wanna. It's like you're not playing football as a hobby. You're playing it because you want to express yourself. And I think that's the best way to explain Fonz, is that like he has that tenacity. He wants to express himself when he has that love for the game. And when you have those three things, it's almost like a secret for success, because you don't hate what you do. And like, I remember like sometimes
that cracks me up, man.
We
need to get him on the pod, bro. Get the guy on the pod.
Come on, man.
Me and Teo need to sit him down here. Tell him next time he's He's at home. We'll touch Edmonton, bro. We'll come up. Martino will bring the mics and off we
Fonzie,
go.
you heard that?
Yeah. Tell us.
Fonzie.
Me and Taylor got to get him in front of us and ask him some questions. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, like, when you have those pillars, like and that's like your base. It's like who knows what can happen, you know? Because I remember, like, on his phone he had like a what's it called, like background. It's like it's not a bad life, it's a bad day, you know. And that's kind of like a mentality that kind of sums him up. It's like just next time. You know what I mean? And like
love that.
With that ability and with that skill and that mindset, it's like no wonder why he's just had such a rapid rise. You know what I mean? It's special. It's really special.
The speed doesn't hurt him as well. But it's not just his speed, man. Like not anyone, but like there's a lot of people that are born with speed, but it's technique, but it's mindset. Love that. A couple more things I want to speak to because I know you guys got places to be. You guys okay for time? Yeah. Obviously you shared the pitch with him with Canada. It's been such a crazy year as a Canadian national team member, probably because of breaking records, qualifying for the first World Cup in so long, scoring the first goal. But it's also been like from a sort of on our end, a fan's perspective, a little bit of a rocky one with like compensation and just like Canada soccer business. And I know your job is to play football on the field and not to worry about those things. But like as a member of the team, like how is that sort of been received by you? And like what can you tell us about that, if anything?
Yeah. Before you go, I just want to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, go do your thing.
It's
You got room?
It's a sticky situation, I can say. Do you want me to wait or?
No, do your thing. Yeah.
It's a sticky situation because, like, obviously, we just want to play football. You know, politics are for the politicians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The business stuff is for the business people. We just want to play football, and at the same time, it's like we want to grow the game, and to grow the game, you have to do things that are like unconventional. Like, for example, with the strike in Vancouver, like. That's something we didn't want to do at all because people bought tickets, people work hard. You know, they fly into for the games. You know, I think there was supposed to be 45,000 people at the game, and to let them down is obviously like that really hurts us. You know, we don't want to do that, but sometimes things have to be done not for now but for later. You know, and I think what we're doing now is trying to grow the game, and to grow the game, it's like we need obviously the federation. We need to grow, and things cost money. You know, there's tuition, there's registration fees and things like that, but ultimately I just think that we want to get to a position where the women obviously are paid what they're worth, we are paid what we're worth, and the game is growing at the same time. To do that is obviously it's not easy, and obviously toes are gonna get burnt and things of that nature, and it's very difficult, and hopefully we're gonna find a solution soon. You know, we have a player group that's leading the way, and you know, talking with the CSA and talking with the women's program. And ultimately, everybody wants to find a solution, but we have 3 parties involved, and it makes it more difficult. But ultimately, everyone wants the same goal, and to get there is obviously hard, but it should happen soon.
And they had announced that you were going to be in the squad for the Gold Cup, and then I think today they announced that you weren't, and some fans weren't coming after you. I was just reading some comments, but more like the association. Do you want to like? Want to clear the air with anything like that, or was there a reason that you pulled out of the squad? Or
yeah, it wasn't anything special. I've just been dealing with an injury that's just been taking its time, and you know, throughout a long season there's a lot of games, there's a lot of travel, and the body takes a load, and sometimes it can only take so much. And you know, heading into the Nations League semifinal and final, I was coming in with an injury, and you know, I was doing everything I can to be fit, and I was obviously playing with some pain, and to then bring that into the final was difficult, you know, and then to bring that to a Gold Cup, it's I won't be in a position to give my best for the team, and that's what I don't want to do. It's not fair to the fans, it's not fair to the coaching staff, and above all, it's not fair to the players. And if I'm not fit, then it's better for me to give my shirt for the next person, and also with that insight to bring that into my next season with an injury like that, it's gonna. With no time for recovery, it's just going to make it, you know, a gradual increase with no break. I won't have a time to just reset and focus on fixing the problem, you know. And we have so many tournaments coming up next year. We have Copa America, then the year after we have the Gold Cup, and then the year after we have the World Cup. So if I don't do what I need to do now, then I don't want to regret it later.
Yep.
You know, so it was a difficult decision. You know, it was very last minute because I really, really wanted to. I spoke with John. I really wanted to wait to get to a point to see I can do everything I can and be healthy. But if it's not gonna benefit the team, then it's not a decision I wanna go ahead with. It wasn't easy, and I was disappointed because I want to win a trophy with the national team. That's something that we really set our eyes on, and so I was obviously disappointed. But you know, sometimes you have to do things that don't make you smile.
Speaking about you smiling, okay? Yo, this is perfect transition, right? Because I was on the phone with my mom today, yeah? I was coming home from Edmonton, and she's like, "Hey, what's going on today?" I go, "Oh, I have a podcast with my guy Teo and Elijah and Sam Adekugbe." She's like, "What?" I swear. She's like,
Shout out, mama.
Shout out, mom, because she's like, "You gotta get Sam to sign my Canada jersey."
Hey, let's go.
So she,
on the pod,
yo,
too.
literally,
On
she
the
drives here because Teo has one too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so I'll give this one to you to pass. But my mom has an Adekugbe jersey. I swear.
See, that's
Right?
what hits more.
And I'm like, because she's wearing it during the World Cup. And I was like, "That's sick." And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, you're a Sam fan." "Oh, from Calgary." But she's like, "You know what, Graham?" She's like, "I just like his smile."
Hey.
I swear.
Hey.
And I'm like, so I promised her that you would sign the kit, and then I think Teo wants you guys both to sign.
Dope.
Okay?
Dope.
If you wouldn't mind. While they do that, Teo.
Yo, I got 2 questions.
All right.
I love this kid.
I know. Everybody loves me, bro.
Hey, yeah.
For both of you, would you guys rather win the World Cup or the Champions League? Cause wait, let's say, who's your favorite club? We'll start off with you.
Manchester United.
Yeah.
Yo, why are you saying it like that? I don't like that
Manchester
response.
City.
Oh my days.
Sticky household growing up.
Okay, so you either win Champions League with Manchester United or win the World Cup with.
World Cup, I can't lie. It's the World Cup.
Definitely the World Cup. The World Cup is like, that's special. Like if you saw the way Argentina was celebrating when they won, it's like,
Yo, it's crazy.
With your
Martina
people
was
too.
crying.
Look
you
at
know?
Marty. Look at Marty.
Yeah, like it's your people
Yeah.
too. Like
Yeah.
your culture, everyone. You go home, you're kings. It's the World
for
Cup.
example, in the group stage games, the atmosphere was unbelievable. I cannot begin to imagine like winning the final, because even with just experiencing winning the league with Galatasaray and like that being crazy, I just can't even begin to imagine. Like they're gods now.
Yeah. I got one more. So you guys looking fresh. Can't even lie. So which one do you guys think dresses better? Like, wait. So do you think you copy your brother more, or do you think your brother learns from the youth?
I think
What you trying to do here?
I think
what you trying to do? You trying to make us
with
fight or
most
what?
things. I think like with most things in life, he takes inspiration from the next generation, the youth. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
But with our styles, mine's definitely like cleaner, more simple, more. So I think mine's better for that reason. And I'm gonna just leave it at that.
What do you think, Sam?
Are you being serious?
I say no lies, bro.
Of course, I'll big up myself. You know, I like my style. I like his style too, but I think there's levels.
Levels.
But there's also one thing when I'm out, people know me that know me. There's one thing I always say, you know my style, and my style is calm. So hey, you know my style.
Yo, before we go, I haven't forgot about you. I got something for you too. So we had the boy Chituru on here. It was a crazy pod. It's gonna drop.
Yo,
it's gonna
that
drop
was
soon.
a
It's
sick
goalkeeper
pod.
union, bro. I was just sitting here like, no, it was
a bit boring, huh?
yo, it was GK union. It was sick. I was like, yo, am I part of the GK union? They're like, yeah, no. So it was sick, but he promised you. What did he promise you?
Gloves. That's what he said.
So I trained him 2 days after. He trained as a player. Nice feet, to be fair. And he went in goal. And right before I was about, he was like, yo, I forgot. I have something for Teo. He got you.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yo, he got you gloves. Shout out
My
Chituru. Shout
God.
out for you, my guy.
Big shit.
And I-
God, bro.
They look like they're gonna fit you right now too. So wear them
Oh,
at your
yeah.
next
Don't worry,
game.
go into him.
So make sure
Yeah,
you thank
but
the
you
guy.
You should have seen the hand comparison, bro. It's crazy.
I know it's
That guy pulled out
it's
some
your face,
saves, man, because he trained as a player.
He's sharp though.
But I was like, yo,
remember, he's sharp.
we had
I
a
saw some of
volley
his things,
challenge. I was
too.
like, yo, get yourself in goal because I gotta bang a volley on you.
Yeah.
And I put one, like I guided one top bins. There's not a lot of keepers that like in Calgary that would touch it. He's caught it.
And yo,
I was like, now it made me miss like against a
Yeah,
proper
I know what you
keeper. I
mean.
was smashed. I scored a couple, but this guy's saves, man, were next.
I still remember the game PDL when we were playing together against Rangers, the goal that you scored that game too. We both scored a goal that game.
Oh, against Portland.
Yeah, Portland, and all your Rangers people when you were working at the time.
Yeah, shout out Rangers.
Shout out Rangers. And I just remember you still have it, bro. You got a little something.
Left
too.
foot volley.
Yeah.
Ask Martino who scored a lot. We already talked about the last pod, but bro, not gonna lie, our 1-up United in the CUSA Prem.
Yeah.
Might have banged like one
Is
from
it?
30 yards. Don't
You
worry,
on form
guys.
right now?
Yeah. Am I on form, Martino? To be honest, I just get sad after I play. That's for the next pod, bro. But I'll pull out a couple things per game where they're like, okay, you still got it. But
Yeah,
it's,
okay,
you know,
cool. I
I'm
love
coach now. Anyways, yo, my guys, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you guys
Appreciate
so
that.
much
That's
for
the
being.
last-
I got a quick question though.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite goalkeeper?
Shitudu.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. No, for real, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming on. It's been crazy to see your guys' progression since I've known you guys since you were mad young. Best of luck with the next year ahead. Hopefully, we see you guys soon back on the pod. But yeah, no, thank you guys so much.
And shout out to you guys and
Yo,
what you're
thank
doing,
you.
Fish. You're doing a lot for footy, the city, and everything. So, Taylor, you're the next wave too. Shout out you guys, bro.
Appreciate that.
Let me say something because
Yeah.
I've known Fishy a long time, you know, and I remember like when I was like 12 years old, I think you were playing at, was it Southwest United? Was it Southwest United? Yeah. I just remember watching you guys play against like Michael Cox and all these guys.
Yeah.
And I used to think like, yo, these guys are crazy.
Raw.
I remember watching you like do like juggling and all this, like, you know, popping the ball in your head, popping it sideways. I remember watching this at like the bubble, man. So I'm just gonna let you know that like, yo, I used to watch you a lot growing up.
Crazy.
moment, bro. It's
Yo,
a
you know
circle
what I
moment.
just thought of? Yo, I think I remember. Yo, I remember I was in Germany and I'd get like Facebook DMs from one of you
It might have been me.
being like, yo, like kind of just like reaching out for help or like, how did you get there? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I just remember. No, that's respect,
Yeah,
man.
what a moment.
Yeah,
bro. It's a full
yeah,
circle
that's
moment
crazy.
for real.
That is a full
Yeah.
circle moment. Anyways, no, it's an absolute pleasure, you guys, and best of luck with what
Love,
you guys
bro.
got coming up, okay?
Appreciate you.
Love my man.
Thank you. Is that 10 now?
And
It's
that's
10.
that.
Man, 10.
Hey, bro, that was a vibe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
10 has been quick,
actually-
bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Keeps going like that
My friend
fast.
just died.
If it keeps going that fast, might have to rethink about that parachute.
What pair? Oh, I heard it. Yeah, I saw that. You said you get to like, what's it like 100 pods or something like that? You said
50.
50?
Yeah, yeah.
Yo, good luck. I would never do a parachute.